The first thing you have to do is take off the handles. There's a screw here on both of them. Remove that to take the handles off. Then take off all these screws all the way around this panel. You don't need to take the handle off. You can use that to hang on to it after you take it loose. Then when you get those off, then you take these 3 screws along the edge here and one up on top. And that releases this thing here, the wind wing. Okay, the panel is off now. Temporarily put the handle back on for the window so you can roll it up and down for different positions. These 2 screws here hold the bottom of this brace for the wind wing. That has to come off, and then the wind wing can swing out. Okay, once that's loose, you can pull that like that. Okay, and then this starts to come out. You tilt it enough to come through there, and you lift it up. And when you get to this point, you have to turn it. You turn it completely crosswise like that. That way it can come out right here. This thing here is that little notch right there is made for that to come out. Okay, if you're just replacing the wind wing, that's all you need to do. If you're going to replace the window, now you have to pry these things off here. These are the little felt strips. So with the window down as far as it would go, you stick the screwdriver in there, and there's a clip right in there. Watch your paint. If you're real careful, you won't mess the thing up, won't mess up the felt strip, but generally they're old anyway. It's time to replace them. Okay, sometimes the clip breaks off the felt strip, so you have to get in there with a pair of dikes or needle nose and take it out. Okay, now that you got that off, roll the window up till you get to this part here. You can see where this rides inside here. You need to get that loose, and you can do that now that the wind wing's out. You can just slide the whole window over. You slide the whole window over, and that pops off of there. Okay, now you roll the window back all the way down. You got to get that side in there loose, and you roll the window all the way down. The window all the way down. Now you can tilt it up. The big corner of the window wants to hit right here on this little brace. You have to make sure it clears that. Lower it down a little bit more. This will come up. Now it's free of that other riding in there. Tilt it slowly out of here, and it's out. Now, if you wish to remove the mechanism to lube it up or change it, or maybe lubricate these little rollers and clean them up, and you take off these 2 screws here and these 2 screws here, and you should be able to get it out this hole. Okay, now that you have that out, now's a good time to get a light in there and a vacuum cleaner. Clean the bottom of the door out, scrape any dirt loose, and maybe some rust paint. Okay, I put some tape on the window now. I marked this one right, and I used a straight edge to mark exactly where the bottom piece lines up when I put it on the glass. And same on this side. Okay, now it's time to take this off the bottom of the glass. Okay, so you get a piece of wood longer than your glass, and you just tap on it like that. It should come loose. Let me tap it and show. Okay, I just put some pressure on the glass to keep the glass from sliding, and I held the piece of wood there and tapped on it here, and you can see it's already starting to come loose. So I'll knock it off a little bit farther, and once you get it off a bit, then you can just pull it out. Okay, the inside of the channel is covered. It has a rubber lining, You can kind of see it there. It's kind of difficult. For some other insane reason, Classic Industries doesn't sell this tape, and it's hard to find. You can ask around at various glass shops. This happens to be, I'm pretty sure, the 3/64 thickness tape. You have to take that out because it's usually rusted underneath. So I'm going to replace the rubber, and so I'm going ahead and take it out. It's not really necessary to remove the window to take this out. You can just remove the wind wing and then slide the window over just a little bit. Sometimes they're a little tough. Sometimes they've been glued in. Oh yeah. Okay, this is the tape that is used to set the glass into the channel. This happens to be 3/64 thick. It comes in several different sizes, but that's what was in it. Some glass shops will carry it, but not many. You have to really search around. So you put it on like that, pretty much halfway on. Make sure the bottom here is tight. And put some tape on it. And I'll do the same all the way across, maybe 2 more. Okay, now we're ready to try and pound this on here. We use soapy water as a lubricant. It can get pretty tough to get on. Some people use oil. Line up my lines here with blue. That looks pretty close. I took this channel off here so I can have room to pound all the way across. Sounds pretty solid. Okay, now take a knife and cut off the excess. The reason you use black tape is because if you use masking tape or white tape, the edges of it will show down here. Okay, ready to put in. It feels pretty solid. Okay, I'm going to go over what I learned on doing the driver's side door. Some of the, won't have to redo some of the things I did there. The first thing you want to do temporarily is put the wind wing in. I had to do a little grinding on this part to make sure that it fit into the notch that goes over there. It slip in fairly easy. If it doesn't go in easy, it's going to spring this thing, and then when you try and take it back out, it'll catch on the bottom lip. So I don't know why they didn't make it exactly the same as the factory, but anyway, so you put this in, turning that way, tilt it a little bit, and turn it like that. Lift it up while you put the top screw in to hold it up. Okay. It's pretty difficult to find the hole, so I had to get a punch and hold that up and then guide it until I felt it was centered in the hole, and then I put the screw in. Okay. Okay, now I'm ready to put the rubber in. These little holes are where the corner is. So if you pinch it like that, force it in, and you want to get it right tight against here so you don't have any wind noise. That's the reason you have to put this in first, so you can, this is, you know, the exact position of this piece of rubber. Once you get it in, you can slide it a little bit, but not very much. I use a board like this to kind of push it in. Before I get too far, I'll push this rest of this down into the door. Okay, you want to make sure when you put it in that you get it in. It's got a little lip here that snaps in. You want to make sure you got it even on both sides. Okay, it's all the way in. You can reach in through here and you reach all the way down and make sure it's tight all the way down. You can reach all the way to the bottom of the metal piece. The rubber sticks past the rubber piece, but that doesn't hurt as long as you're seated into the metal piece all the way around. Okay. You notice this door has a couple extra holes in it. These are not factory holes, obviously. We had to cut this one in order to get the speaker in, and we had to cut this one in order to get the mirrors mounted. On the factory, they just use sheet metal screws, and eventually they strip out. So if you want to have it, your mirror on there tight, you have to put nuts on the backside, and you cannot reach them from here unless you got one heck of a long arm. Okay, I check. I look for light between this and the metal on the wind wing and make sure that's tight up against it. Then before I take the wind wing out again, I take a pencil and I mark right where, this would be right where the felt will end. Okay, I've taken the screws out. I'm ready to take this out. Now it won't so simply tilt back like it did before. Well, once you pull down, then it'll clear. You pull it down, it clears that rubber, so then you can tilt this like that. Come up, turn it, and out it comes. Now I'm ready to put the glass in. That's another reason for not having the felt in. You can see, I don't think you can get the glass in with the felt in the way. Also, you need to be able to see down here. You have to catch first this roller in the back and then the second roller. Generally, you want the window rolled down quite a ways. So I'm going to put it in and see if I can catch that roller. Tilt it a little bit. Wrong. You have to be on the front roller first. Unhook from the back. Put this all the way down. Slide this window down because you have to clear this metal piece. This corner has to clear this metal piece so you can tilt the window. Probably would be easier to do this when it's dark outside, so you can put a light in there and see what's going on. pulling up and down, it feels like I'm on that roller. Roll the window up and see if I can see it. Okay, now, slide the window back. Slowly come up. Okay, I am on the back of the front roller. You have to be first. Okay, now, because this is gone, I can slide the window like that and slide it over. Okay, rather than cut the metal off completely, I just cut off the felt and I flattened, squeezed it in a vise. So that'll fit behind there. And then these little tabs will fit into these holes. Okay, in this case, I'm trying to squeeze that in there, and it just seems a little tight. And so this is just anti-rattle; it's not wind noise. I'm going to go ahead and just cut that off with tin snips. Okay, then I use a screwdriver to push the second one in, and then I come along and I make sure I'm not touching the glass. The glass is over here, and I push the rest of the other four in. The last two are a little tricky. Got one left. You can see how this is a little tilted a little bit. You need a bigger screwdriver, and you don't want to pry because you'll pry against the glass. So you make sure the hole is lined up. You put the screwdriver in there, and you hold the top and you pop it. And there, it's set. Okay, now I'm ready to put back in the wind wing. Before I put the wind wing in, I want to make sure this glass is slid all the way back, because it still can slide back and forth. I want to make sure it's seated into the felt down on the bottom. Like I said, it will sure be easier if I could see it. It looks like it is in the felt, in the channel. Okay, now it's a little more tricky getting this thing in with the glass and the felt. And the rubber up here, so you have to clear that rubber, so you got to push it down. Maybe push up the rubber a little bit. There, and push it up. There, I got it. Let's get the screws going. Okay, I've got the felt in. And it was a little bit of problem. And remember that this window is a little bit lower, a little bit shorter than the stock window, so if you might have even a little more trouble. If worse comes to worse, you could, rather than hook the window up to the rollers, put it all the way down inside the door, then mount these things, and then pick it back up and hook it to the rollers. It'd be harder to see what you're doing though with these in, but that's an option. Okay, so now I'll roll it up and see how it fits. See how it was smaller around the corner. It looks like it's going to fit all right and seal. It seals all the way around.